When Anthony Martial scored that goal on his debut against Liverpool at Old Trafford as a teenager, we thought we were witnessing the start of something special. And that season, the way it panned out, his early start at Manchester United was filled with so much promise. And he's always had promise. But in this video, I want to explain exactly why I feel Manchester United this summer, we have to sell Martial. We really do. If this club is really going to be moving forward to what Ten Hag wants, he wants to be not only the best team in England, the best team in Europe, and the best team in the world. We need changes at this football club and changes with this personnel. And that includes selling Anthony Martial. Please let me explain why in this full video. This isn't a scapegoat, anything but. This is something that's been bubbling for a long time. Now, Anthony Martial, as I said, when he scored that goal against Liverpool in his debut, we were all filled with hype. Hype level was 10 out of 10 after joining. I think it was the most expensive teenager we've ever signed at that time from Monaco. And this season, right, going in for the pre-season, I think Martial and Relied were probably the two best players immediately in the Ten Hag system. They suited it well. They clearly enjoyed his coaching. They clearly enjoyed his style. And I have absolutely no doubt that Manchester United are indeed a better team with Anthony Martial in. But herein lies the issue. How often is that? Not often enough. For a player who commands in excess of £200,000 a week, is one of our main strikers, and he's hardly ever available. Erik Ten Hag spoke about his injury concerns back in January, and he said, look, it's a bit of an issue. And this is what he said about it. He said, look, there's a reason that Martial has been substituted in his last 7 games. It's because he cannot manage the load. This is why we're looking for another striker. It's not about us relying on him. His physical load is not at this moment so high that he can play every third game a day of 90 minutes. So I have to manage that together with him. And Martial, we are a better team with him in. But it's not often enough anymore. Well, I'm not sure whether it kind of was for the first couple of seasons. We'll run through his injury record and his history. This summer is when Manchester United really have to draw a line in the sand and move forward as a football club. And I think that's without Martial. And this isn't just because of his injury record, but it's more part of a process that I think this club needs to go through. It's just that Martial is going to be one of the first examples of it. This is what Ten Hag said about Martial most recently. He said he's not constantly injured. He's playing games. He has to work on that. And he has to be more available. And he can't do nothing for it in that sense. It's sometimes bad luck. Kind of hinting that he feels that Martial can do a little bit more to make himself available. When he said when he is there, he's really important for us because we play our best football when he's available. He has to be aware of that as well. And if we want to be successful, he said we need him. And the first thing is he has to be available. And it's the first thing that you just keep reiterating over and over and over again. And I suppose that's kind of why I feel like I've checked out with Martial this season. Because I went in off the back of what was such an impressive pre-season. You can't take too much from pre-season, but you can tell about the energy and the application of a player. Martial just looked on it. And I was thinking, if he can get his injury concerns and make them something of the past and this season kick on, then hell yeah. But it hasn't happened. And it's why I really kind of feel strongly when I say the fact that we need to sell Martial in the summer. I sent this tweet out yesterday and it got quite a few replies. So I feel like I wanted to justify what I was saying with this video. Now, in terms of the games that Martial has played for United, you can go back to that breakthrough season. Look, he played in 31 games. Season after, played in 25 games in the Premier League. Season after that, 30. Still, he's playing the majority. 27, missing a third of the season, basically. In 2018-19, the year after, arguably, it was his best year, 32. Last season, obviously went on loan to Sevilla. Season before, 22 games, missed 16 games, nearly missed as many games as he played. This season so far, he's played 9 out of 20 games, I think we're into the season. And if you take a look at Martial's injury history, it's a long old list. This one here so far this season, hamstrings, back, Achilles irritation. He's missed 11, 13 games so far this season. For me, it's just the same old conversation repeating itself over and over and over again with Martial. And it's such a shame. Because I think Ten Hag is right. I genuinely do believe we are a better team with him in. But it's just not often enough anymore that I think Man United, historically, recent history, or maybe just in history altogether, we've held on to players because of promise. And by the time we let that player go, there's no resale value in it. And all of a sudden, we've made a substantial loss and we're not bringing enough money in. And all of a sudden, Manchester United are losing £200 million over the last 3 years. Laurie Whitwell has spoken about this. Quite a few journalists have. FFP means Manchester United needs sales to buy big in the summer, a consequence of overspending and underselling in recent years. And that, for me, is why these two things sort of align with Martial and why I can say with confidence that I feel Manchester United need to sell him. Because not only can we not rely on him as a striker of Manchester United anymore, like, that's just the truth. Whether or not you do agree with Ten Hag that we're a better team with him in, and I think we are, we cannot rely on him. That is just a fact. Rafa Benitez. That really is a fact that's just staring us in the face. And that's why I put this out as well. I said, look, with Martial, Maguire, Telles, Henderson, Jones, Williams, you could add McTominay, Van der Beek, Elanga conversations there. Baye is not on that list. Twanzebe is not on that list. There is such an opportunity for Manchester United to make some really good money this summer. That list there, you're looking in excess of 150 million there if we sell correctly, and we should be able to sell correctly. And that's money that's going to come in. And look, this summer we're going to have new owners, right? We'll have the funds, but because we've lost so much over these last 3 years, FFP is going to play a part of that because FFP works in 3-year cycles. And I think we're in excess of 200 million loss over the last 3 years combined. We need to sell. And Martial, for me, is somebody that should be on that list because, simply put, we can't rely on him. And I wish this wasn't the case. I, for the life of me, wish that we were following this video up. This video here was talking about how good Martial has been and how consistent he's been, and he's retained his fitness and he's there looking. He's a confidence player. So many players are confidence players. Martial really is one. I think he gets pretty disheartened with his own body and the injuries and the niggles that keep happening. But it's time and time and time again. And I just feel that we've now reached that point where I think Manchester United should be cutting ties with Martial, because I think if we sold him for in the region of somewhere between 20 and 30 million, which we absolutely should do at a minimum, right? We should be able to reinvest that back into the squad with a player who will be able to impact our season far more than Martial's been able to. And I wish this wasn't the case. As I said, we can rewind to that goal against Liverpool. What a moment that was. This one here, when he scored against Everton in Wembley in the FA Cup semi, last minute. Oh man, the absolute goon was amazing. And I wish that this was a different conversation, but I don't think it is. And I feel like this photo there is kind of appropriate. Ten Hag's, I don't know. That photo there kind of sums up, I feel, kind of how we all feel about Martial. We kind of feel a little bit sorry for him somewhat. But ultimately, I think we're just looking at a player who is never going to fulfill that promise at Manchester United. And this is a summer where I think we need to change our attitude towards continuing to just hold on to that hope and promise and saying, you know what, it's not going to work out. Now, Louis Saha, I think, as a comparison, is a fair one. In Louis Saha was a player who, man, we were spoiled with strikers at that point in time, man. So spoiled. And Louis Saha was somebody whose injuries really just curtailed any ability for him to really become he was a household name, but not on the Ruud van Nistelrooy or the Rooney levels. And injuries stopped that. And I think the same thing is going to be said about Anthony Martial. And what I want to reiterate, like I said at the start of the video, Ten Hag has ambitions to take this club back to the very top. He wants to be the best in England, the best in Europe, the best in the world. And I don't personally think that can happen with Martial inside this squad, with the constant, every single season, the same old questions, the same old concerns, and the same old what-ifs. I don't think United can afford any what-ifs. If we really are going to be becoming the best in the world, we have to have an element of ruthlessness to us. And because we need money, right, I think Martial should be on that list. to be sold in the summer. And that we're just going to have to look back at it and say, you know what? What if Martial built on that preseason with Ten Hag and he retained his fitness? I think Martial's just going to be a what if rather than somebody who really does fulfill that potential. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm sure there's going to be plenty who disagree with me. I got absolutely slated and got called every name under the sun when I was talking about the Ronaldo situation and how that developed. I feel pretty strongly about this Martial one and how this is developing. Ten Hag is right. We are a better team with him in. Problem is, that's not often enough.